name's DJ Butchum. I'm a sophomore at Magnolia High School. I don't know why I volunteered to go last for this, but I'll try to get through this. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I've been through, some hardships I've had in my life. Sometimes through hardships it's hard to see hope, hard to have hope. And I'm a basketball player, I play basketball, and in 8th grade I tore my ACL in the middle of a game, actually my first game starting. That was pretty devastating. And I found out I had to have surgery. So over the summer before 9th grade year, over the summer before 9th grade year, I had ACL repair surgery, and recovery was 9 months. That was pretty difficult, because some people like you're not able to play your sport anymore, football, and I don't know how you do that, but going 9 months without playing basketball is pretty rough. And I made it though, and so I played my freshman year, and then in off season I was playing for my select team, and it's funny because I wasn't even supposed to play that much in this game, but I was just running along and I twisted my knee and felt 3 pops, and so I had to go to the doctor again, couldn't play the rest of that game. And found out later that week that I not only tore my ACL again, but I tore my meniscus and LCL and partially tore my MCL. So that hit pretty hard. I had to go through yet another surgery, and I actually had to sit out this season. Another 9 months of recovery. I'm actually halfway through right now. And at first, it was it sucked because I had to go through this again. But I really didn't realize what the struggle I was going through, and that probably because I wasn't that close to God as I was now, and I didn't even realize that I was struggling. And so I was kind of living the depression, I guess, without even realizing it. And it was just little things I went on a trip to California to visit family, and they would tell me I didn't seem like myself apparently, but I was just myself. It didn't even hit me. And so that was pretty hard. I couldn't walk for 8 weeks, and after the 8 weeks, it felt pretty great to walk again. But 4.5 months through now, I've began to grow closer to God, and I've began to realize the struggle I was going through and how much happier I could be just by focusing on the good. And so it's hard to see hope through hardships and struggling, but it is possible through Him, obviously. And so I encourage y'all to focus on the little things and know that it all works out in His plan, and that God always pulls through.
Yeah.
I have a few verses for you here. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your paths." And then 2 Corinthians 12:9-10 says, "But He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weaknesses. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sakes, I delight in weaknesses and insults, in hardships and persecutions and difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong." And that's kind of hard for me to understand, because going through this hardship, I don't know if you know this, but when you have surgery on your knee and you can't walk for 8 weeks, you lose a lot of muscle in the leg. So what doesn't make sense to me is that in my weakness I'm strong. But that is something I do need to understand. I'm still working on understanding. And then Romans 5:3-5 says, "Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us." So that really stood out the most to me, because it is true. Sufferings do produce perseverance. Going through 13.5 months of recovery now, I have learned to persevere through the pain and keep working. And so I encourage y'all to not focus on the hardships when you're struggling, but have hope that God will always pull through. That's all.